Hi, welcome to another episode of Sanford Says. This is Lisa Holder, Communications Officer, and I am joined today by Brigitte Stevenson. Brigitte is our museum manager, the City of Sanford. Assistant. I just gave you a promotion. So Brigitte is here today to discuss some really great information about a super event for the month of October. We all love October. At least I do, Brigitte, right?
Oh, I know. I decorated my whole house yesterday. I am ready for the season.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So we're talking here about Sanford Gothic.
Yes.
This is an amazing topic and a program that Brigitte created, and she's here today to discuss information about that. And all are welcome, right, Brigitte?
Yes.
All right.
So this is our second annual Sanford Gothic, and what it is, it's a lecture series that's free to the public for the Saturdays in October. So you can come on by, and this year we're doing it at Monroe Hall because we had such an audience last year that we wanted to make sure that everyone can go. And if you don't know where Monroe Hall is, it used to be the old Chamber of Commerce, or if you're older than that, the old USO building. And I believe that's 400 East 1st Street, Sanford. So we will be there every Saturday, and we will be discussing about kind of different how do I describe this? So the year before it, we focused on kind of tragic tales of Sanford. And this year we're kind of focusing on kind of death traditions that happened in Sanford. So it sounds a little spooky,
Morbid.
but it's not.
It's not. It's the month of Halloween. I mean, yeah. And Gothic, the term, what is the word Gothic mean? I mean, you chose that title for a reason, and you're talking about deadly themes and things like that, right?
Yeah, we wanted it as one way to kind of get people interested. You think of kind of the Gothic genre, and you think of, famously Mary Shelley, like out in the cemetery or something like that.
Right.
And we're not necessarily doing that. We're kind of talking about kind of tragic things or death in a way that is not disrespectful or sensationalizing, but these are real people, and the past is kind of real on how we respected our dead and these people. And sometimes in death, that's where we get the most information in history. So for instance, obituaries, we use those all the time to kind of find out who somebody is, how society views them. And Sanford Gothic we're kind of taking that where it's not scary. Sometimes what you leave behind in death is what can help you be remembered. And so that's what we're kind of focusing. So we're kind of tricking you.
Okay.
We're kind of tricking you into like, oh, come for the Gothic and stay for the history. And we're going to talk about respecting your dead. So it's a little bit of a misnomer.
Yeah, but truthfully, Sanford has history.
Yes.
We just celebrated our what anniversary
yesterday?
100 and.
Oh gosh, 142.
42,
I can't do math.
Yeah, we need a calculator here. But yes.
That was our city's incorporation date, 1877. So if somebody online would like to do the math
142. You're right.
Okay. So we were incorporated as a city. That's when we held our first mayoral election, our first alderman election, and we even approved our first city seal and that date. So that's kind of when we really kind of started as kind of like we are a city.
Yeah.
Before we were kind of unincorporated. And that was really fast. Henry Sanford bought the land in 1870, and by 7 years it's already a city.
Exactly. So the point is Sanford's got a lot to talk about historically and even in this aspect. So what a creative way to bring information and an event to our community, to the public, and it's free?
Yes, it's free. So we want people to kind of really kind of get in touch with the history this month. Many different cultures kind of use this season as a way to kind of visit loved ones who are passed. And so I think a museum is kind of a great way to do that. You're visiting the artifacts and the things of people who are no longer here with us. For the most part, we have some things from people that are still living. You don't have to be dead for us to put you in the museum. But we do kind of want to focus on that. And this year we're really focusing on death traditions and outside of the museum. What is there to kind of remember loved ones, and how did people remember loved ones? So we're working with a couple of organizations. We're working with FPAN, or the Florida Public Archaeology Network. Emma Dietrich is going to be giving a lecture on the 12th on historic cemeteries as outdoor museums. So now we kind of use cemeteries as these spooky places. That wasn't always the case. In fact, you see a lot in the 19th century, people like picnicking and going out there like it was a kind of a nice way to celebrate your loved ones. And we're not asking people like, oh, go picnic out
right.
in Lakeview or anything like that, but it's kind of like, how do we shift kind of our thoughts to it now being kind of a spooky plot of land, and what can a cemetery actually tell us about those who are interred there? We'll also be working with the Central Florida Cemetery Project. They're a newer group. Some of you may heard about them and their work with Page Jackson Cemetery. They recently adopted Lakeview Cemetery, so we will be giving a virtual tour of Lakeview Cemetery. So some of the notable inhabitants and some of the interesting kind of architectural features, architectural features isn't right, but the features of certain headstones that might be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of in preparation of the 27th is National Visit a Cemetery Day. So they will be making maps, and if you want to go on your own time, you can visit the cemetery and see some of those cool landmarks.
Wonderful. And so also, it's a very creative way to learn about history as well as have a nice time, an event, really, basically with your. This is kid friendly, would you say, or?
Well, it depends on how comfortable they are with death and cemeteries. So, for instance, when I was a kid, I was deathly afraid of cemeteries. So I can't really say for sure it's kid friendly, but it depends on when you want to start introducing your child to death. We're not going to be like sitting there and talking to your child about like, okay, when somebody dies. Yeah.
So, right, Brigitte. So these events are held Saturday afternoons, and you said at Monroe Hall, correct?
Yes.
And so it's also walking distance to the museum,
yes.
correct?
So you can make a day of it. You can come first for the lecture and then come to the museum and just kind of visit some of the artifacts that we have.
Right, because it depends on really your the age of your child. If you have maybe a middle schooler or even a high schooler, it may be something to do to learn about. Basically, and then get to the museum and make it a wonderful family day.
Yes.
At the museum and make it a teachable moment.
Exactly. And the weather's been so nice recently, fingers crossed that then maybe you can go to the park and have a nice picnic. Yes,
it's all right there.
It's really kind of a great area that you can really kind of take the family.
So this is geared toward then what audience would you say?
We're kind of gearing toward a range of people that are probably right outside of probably college age and up, depending on your interest level. There seems to be more of an interest, especially with my generation, and for those who can't see me right now, I'm in my late 20s. That is about kind of death customs and that sort of thing, but it's no means kind of catered to millennials. There's also people that are baby boomers, Generation X, that are interested as well.
Right. All right. And so where can they also find follow-up information about this?
You can go to the city's Facebook. Not Facebook. I'm sorry. My apologies. You can go to the museum's Facebook. Follow the Sanford Museum. It's just Sanford Museum, and then just find that on Facebook, and you can follow us. Make sure it's not the Sanford Planetarium. That's all the way in Colorado. That will not help you. But our website, we do have a website that's sanfordfl.gov/museum, right? Sanford Museum?
Yes. And we'll be sharing the information on the city's social media as well, the Facebook and all of that, and Twitter and Instagram. So, yeah, we love our museum.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, it's a little bit of a long bit of text, but I would love for people just to hear what events we're doing.
Go right ahead,
and
please.
The time.
Yeah.
So this weekend, we're doing on the 5th. We're having 2 lectures. The first one is going to be about mourning customs in the 19th century, and that's going to be presented by me, and that is at 11:30. So I will be talking about how would a woman and a man go through mourning, and it was an elaborate process. For a woman, it would almost take up to 2 years and 6 months to be a mourning for your husband, and you would have to be wearing certain clothing and that sort of thing. So if you would like to know more about that, please come. And then afterwards, we're doing Victorian haircraft workshop. So originally this wasn't for mourning, but it became associated from mourning. They used to take their loved one's hair and make it into a brooch or a watch fob or a bracelet. And we're not doing those techniques, but I will be teaching the basic technique on how to make a hair flower wreath. That was something that people did. So that is the one. If you can please go to our Facebook page, there's an event for it. Say that you're going and message me so I can make sure that I have a space for you, because we only have so many kits. And if you would like to, even if you can't make it, the Sanford Historical Society, our friends organization, will be selling these kits for $10 each, and all the proceeds will go to the museum. So if you want to pick up a new craft, please do. We will be using acrylic hair. We won't be using real human hair.
Okay.
So if that's squeamish to you, we got you covered.
Yeah, I think if you're attending this event in the first place, you're kind of interested in non-mainstream type things, but it's wonderful for something for everyone out there.
Exactly. And we're gonna have other events at the museum that are a little bit more mainstream and that sort of thing that you can take the family to.
Yes.
We're not always doing these sort of events. This is just for the month of October.
Sure. We love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the 12th at 11:30, we're going to be Emily Dietrich from FPAN, or the Florida Public Archaeology Network, will be giving historic cemeteries out as outdoor museums. So she'll be talking about how important cemeteries are, and especially in archaeology, and what can they tell. And then on the 19th, that's going to be another two-part, two lectures. The first one is going to be about our municipal cemeteries. So we're going to be talking about the cemeteries that our city owns and our city upkeeps. And if you didn't know, we do have some historic cemeteries. And then the second part to that, which is at 2 o'clock, we want to leave you enough time to get some food. It's the history of Sanford area cemeteries. So these are the cemeteries that are owned by the city and have kind of an importance to Sanford as well, and they kind of tell a story themselves. And then on the 26th, the final one is going to be our virtual tour of Lakeview Cemetery, and that's going to be presented by the Central Florida Cemetery Project. And remember, that one is they're going to have little maps that you can pick up, and if you want to, you can see some of the notable figures and headstones that we talk about in that lecture. So that is really Sanford Gothic in a nutshell. It's a lot. If that's not your jive, don't worry. We'll be doing a celebration in November celebrating Sanford's agricultural history. So please follow us on Facebook, or kind of update that website. Keep on press and refresh every so often, and you'll find more information about the fun-free events that we're doing at the Sanford Museum.
Yes, and thank you, Brigitte. That's some wonderful information, really unique topics that you are sharing, and you are a wealth of information and just a pleasure to listen to. Thank you for sharing this information. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the museum at this time, about Sanford Gothic? Any plugs about any companies that you're working with, other groups? You did mention the Historical Society, correct?
Yes, our Historical Society is also one of our sponsors for Sanford Gothic. They sponsor a lot of our events. They'll also be sponsoring our celebration event. And they're really the ones that are able to help, get kind of certain little things to make sure that we're ready to go and that the museum can host these wonderful events. So if you're interested in joining that group, again, they're not part of the city. They're a friends organization. They're a fundraising arm. If you would like to join that group, please follow them on Facebook at Sanford Historical Society, and you can also email them as well. I believe it's sanfordhistorical@gmail.com. So,
okay.
Yeah, we always love more people.
That's great. And what's the address to the museum?
Yes, 520 East 1st Street, and we're free. We're open Tuesdays through Fridays from 11 to 4 p.m., and then Saturdays 1 to 4 p.m. So we would love to see you, and please bring the family. It's kind of we're free, so if somebody decides that they're not feeling it, you can always come back.
Right, there you go. And speaking of family-friendly, the city of Sanford is, if you're interested in finding out some events for Halloween or the month of October, We are having our annual Spooky Hollow
Yes.
on Halloween, October 31st in historic downtown Sanford. That's for the youngsters. It's First Street and Magnolia Square from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's Thursday, October 31st. There's costume contest. It's for children 12 and under. So we do have...
I know. I wish I could do that costume contest.
And there'll be trick-or-treat availability for you. You can have fun doing that and a lot of carnival games. So please come out. For those folks listening that have children 12 and under, we do have something for you that's family friendly. So we cater to all audiences here in the city of Sanford. So thank you, Brigitte.
Yes, thank you.
And we just love hearing about our Sanford Museum and appreciate the Sanford Gothic event the whole month of October. Every Saturday there's something going on at Monroe Hall.
Yes.
And please follow the museum on their Facebook page. Continue to listen to this podcast as well as follow the City of Sanford social media because, and of course, it's on our website for detailed information. But thank you again, Brigitte Stevenson, Museum Assistant, Sanford Museum. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Holder, Communications Officer for the City of Sanford. You can follow this podcast or subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Apple Radio, iHeart, as well as all of our social media. Subscribe today on Spotify and SoundCloud as well. Thank you so much. At sanfordfl.gov/podcast, you can find us as well. Have a great day.